Because of the final demise at A-Town. They were having a final jam and we wanted a magazine out of it. Me and him used to take crazy amount of photos.
Joey even got a free subscription, he got a free, he was either A-Town Mag or BWSM with Bruce and Wade Skate Mag. Because we couldn't come up with a name. Desktop publishing had just come out. So instead of plugging quarters into the Xerox machine, we were actually getting it printed.
Everybody for attending tonight. I think it's more like, instead of a celebration for the Hall of Fame, which is rightfully deserving for each of the inductees, it's more like a reunion for myself to see all of your faces and just get together, because I haven't seen a lot of your faces in quite some time. So it's an honor to be up here and have a chance to just talk to all of you. Yeah. All right. So, I guess what I would start off with is, in regards to, the magazine, zines, Lapper, is, I would say, all of us, for the most part, remember what Skateboarder magazine was, right? I couldn't wait until I got my subscription, and it was just unbelievable when you saw the photographs, and then when that kind of like disappeared, and then skate parks disappeared, we were left with this big void. And no longer was, our world of skateboarding the same. And so a lot of us kind of found, that bonding in small little pockets, because we weren't doing organized sports. We weren't doing things that were socially accepted. So we really found bond with each other in what Mike would describe as a scene, right? Because there were ramps being built to take the place of skate parks. And when Skateboarder went away, we really didn't have any kind of like marketing or material that would come in to help us with our love for skateboarding. And skate zines kind of filled that spot. They were small little pockets of skate zines, just like there were skate scenes, but they were zines. And Thrasher came around, but that was really kind of like, they really just covered the West Coast. And there weren't a lot of stuff that kind of showed us in our communities and what we were doing in our backyards, unless you had a photographer or someone's taking pictures, which, if you're too busy skateboarding, no one's taking pictures. So if you got that, it was nice to see. And then all of a sudden you start seeing these zines for us in the DC area, and you saw at the beginning here with A-Town, which was great. They were black and white magazines. And we got to see it. And then when they first came out, I remember, I'll never forget it, Bruce showed me their third magazine, which was BWSM. And I'm flipping through it, I got it, here's a copy of it. Woo! Yeah! And I looked at it going, man, that's down at Elastic Park down in DC. There's Tobin doing this thing on. And I'm like going, that's so cool. And I'm looking through, and I'm looking at all the pictures, and I'm loving the stories and the artwork. And I'm going to Bruce, I go, BWSM, black and white skate mag? Is that what that is? Everything was black and white, because the pictures were all black and white. And he goes, no, it's Bruce and Wade skate mag. And I was like, oh, no sense, that makes sense. So, the very next issue, I will say, I think I might have gave him a thought, like, hey, man, Wade, I think we should change the name to something other than BWSM. And they came up with Lapper.
Yeah.
And what was so nice about Lapper was that it was very similar to Thrasher, right? 2 syllables, Thrasher, Lapper. It just rolled off the tongue, much easier than BWSF. When you saw it, it just so happens that at that time, when they made the name change, Cedar Crest also came into existence, and we recognize Cedar Crest here tonight. And so that kind of was their, I guess, their documentation of what was shared across not just the DC area or the Mid-Atlantic, but up and down the East Coast, out west. I remember the first sponsor I ever had as a skateboarder was Lapper Mag. And what that meant was they gave me a little bit of cash money to get to Chicago for a contest that we were doing, Chicago Blowout, and some t-shirts and some stickers and some magazines. And they also let me sleep on their floor when I had no place to go. And so they really kind of helped me out, and they've always looked after me as a fellow skater and a friend. And I'll always be very thankful for what they've done to help me when I was just trying to be a skateboarder and live. So with Lapper, you know, what was nice about it is as the issues became better, they had a full staff. They had photographers that were contributing. They were documenting not just our lives right then, but for the future. So you could look back and look at the magazine. They had artwork. It was unbelievable. They had calendars that would come out. And they really took it to a whole new level, more than just a skate zine that was on a small distribution channel. They actually did something with Lappermatic. And I'll never forget, every time I went somewhere, Texas, Arizona, California, Florida, people would always say, "Oh, do you have any stickers, Lapper, t-shirts?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, I do, hold on, let me go in there," and I'd pull out. And they were very, very thankful because they knew it was an underground, like guerrilla marketing that was really something that they, that we all gravitated towards. And so with that, I'd like to say it's my honor to induct Bruce, Wade, and everybody at the Lapper team, Andy, to come up and accept this reward.
And Archbishop as well. Archbishop. Scott Bishop.
Andy.
Yeah.
Andy. What's going on here? Skateboarding.
Thank you, Bob. Bigger gentleman in the sport I can't think of. And we'll see you here next year if we've got more good people. Thank you all. Kind of like the video said, we started with just throwing pictures on a copier. And we kind of snowballed from there. We kind of caught lightning in a bottle, I guess, with Cedar Crest, desktop publishing, and everybody who helped make it happen. I was going back through stuff just to familiarize, before this event. We had over 35 contributors over all these issues. So a lot of you in this room helped make this happen. We had over 30 advertisers, all different sorts, all of which we mentioned tonight, all of which made that happen for all of us and all of you. Bob talked about staff. I mean, it was really, we were just trying to look professional, just making up titles for ourselves and just kind of winging this thing. We really had no idea what we were doing. But as it happened, it just worked out. And, here we are 40 years later, and apparently we actually pulled something off. So for that, it's just amazing. I'm very grateful for all of this and for all of us, the friendships we still have today. I'm just humbled to be here, and thank you. Started with your
father. He was the stickler when it came to getting into advertising Lapper. He was a stickler. We had to really convince him that it was something to get.
You talk about
Yeah, you can
More
talk.
nervous than I
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my funny story about your father, because we got all these people jumping on board, and I don't think he really took it very serious, because it was pretty, homegrown at that time. And then when we started coming to OC to cover the contest, he developed it, and then from there forward. Another funny story, I want to give a shout out to Fairfax Surf Shop. They advertise on the inside cover of every issue until he did an ad and you drew the ad.
I parodied this shop in an ad for
Yeah,
Mike
yeah,
Mapp.
yeah.
I parodied an ad, I parodied this skate shop in an ad for Mike Mapp, and they yanked their advertising.
Yeah, Mike, no.
Say Fairfax Surf Shop. Fun shack.
I called it the Beer Shack Sunshine House or something.
So he didn't advertise in that next issue. But,
Sorry, man.
The funny thing about all this is so many of us know each other's names, we know each other's stories, but it doesn't necessarily mean that person. I'm just now meeting him for the first time. The first time I ever saw him, I was 15 on the boardwalk, and this little blonde-haired surf rat comes up and just starts skating all around us and takes off down the road. And now here it is, 40 years later, we're all grown up, and you're hosting the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right. Easy.
But anyway, I want to thank everybody for purchases, the love, the advertising, the contributions, everything that went into it. Of course, thank Amy and Pat for doing this. I would have never thought this would have been a thing. But like Wade said, we went from this take some pictures, Xerox some pictures, put them in this magazine. The difference between our zine and others is we actually made it the size of a magazine. And most zines at that time were 5x7. By the way, there's about over 100 zines in that book right there, if you want to check them out. And our full catalog is Lapper Mail. And then 2 binders this thick that Wade gave me that are all full of handwritten notes from people all over the place, all over the country, and out of the country, the world. Right? And when he gave me all that mail, a lot of it was in the original envelopes. And I started ripping open the envelopes, and I'm finding like checks that had been written for and we never really followed through with that. Then I'm finding dollar bills in these envelopes that are like 30, 40 years old. And then I found a piece of money from Turkey. That's how far this thing went. And I ended up cataloging it all, putting it in the books over there, and it basically went from his closet to my closet to that notebook, and who knows where it'll go from there. But what I was saying about everybody's story is that we all know each other's story, we all know each other's names, doesn't necessarily matter. We skated with each other. But we all know each other through skating. And Lapper, I think, helped pull all that together. Arch's comic, every episode we have Scott draw a comic, which became a regular item. All of us were drawing art for the covers. I used to draw all the time, and then Lapper, and we did not stop drawing. But to finalize this, the last issue we put out, we called it 57 Photos. And we were all ready to bail on the magazine. Everybody was kind of over it. Nobody was making money. Cedar Crest was dying. He was moving to Florida. Hutch was moving to Nags Head. We were moving to Colorado, and everybody just wanted to disperse and move on. So we didn't put much effort into that last issue. Our only way out of it